Welcome back to Her Layered Life. I am so excited for today's conversation because I think every woman, no matter her age or season of life, has wrestled with this question. Am I becoming the woman I was created to be? It's easy to spend so much time looking around that we forget to look within. We compare our lives, our bodies, our families, our businesses, and our journeys to everyone else's. And before we know it, we're chasing someone else's definition of success instead of discovering the woman God created us to become. One thing I've learned is that becoming doesn't happen all at once. It's founded in the small, everyday choices we make. It's choosing courage over comfort, growth over fear, faith over comparison, and little by little, those choices shape who we're becoming. That's why I am so excited to introduce today's guest. Lindsay Harper has built an incredible community by encouraging women to become happier, healthier, and more confident. But what I appreciate most isn't just what she teaches. It's the permission she gives women to grow, to evolve, and to embrace the journey without pretending they've already gotten there. Today, we're talking about confidence, wellness, comparison, friendships, and what it really means to become the best version of ourselves. I have a feeling every woman listening will find a piece of herself somewhere in this conversation. So, Lindsay, welcome to Her Layered Life.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So we had a little conversation before. I know, shocker. Linz was saying she has a little experience in podcasting. She's never been on one. But what's your experience with podcasting?
Bringing it back to good old BYU. I took a podcasting class, and I also worked as a podcast host briefly for a company similar to this. They had a podcast for their company, and I was the host, but this time I'm the guest, which is so fun.
That's so fun. I've never been with anyone that's been in the world of podcasting before, honestly. So this is fun. I love it. Your voice is it's a very good speaking voice.
Oh, thank you. I actually, since I was a child, people would tell me, you should be on the radio. You have a radio
Yes,
voice.
You do.
So
you
thank
do.
you.
Yeah,
thank
you're
you.
welcome. You have a great voice. Before social media, we've already talked a little bit, but before social media, before the followers, who's Lindsay?
Well, funny enough, I actually started social media when I was very young. I've always had a passion for social media, but since I was 12, I've loved YouTube and all the different platforms that came along the way. But who's Lindsay? I have come from a lot of different places. I talked to you about this a little bit before, but I was born in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And then my family lived briefly in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And then we spent 7 years in New Jersey, 7 years in Ohio. And that's what brought me to Utah my junior year of high school. My dad got a new job, and I've lived in Utah ever since, spent junior, senior year of high school here. I'm the youngest of 4 in my family. I've got 2 older sisters and an older brother. I love dogs. I love people. So I'm really happy to be here. And yeah, I'm trying to be the best version of myself. That's my journey right now. So.
I love it. Tell me, I know you're married. How long you been married?
I've been married for a little over 5 years now.
Okay, you've been married for a while.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about your husband.
My husband, his name is Levi. We both met our freshman year at BYU.
Okay.
And he's from Oklahoma. We kind of bonded. We were both not from Utah and growing up outside of Utah, which was fun. We dated for a little bit over a year before we got married, April 2021. So we built our house a year and a half ago up in northern Utah. And yeah, he works in construction. He's a project manager and he's over custom home build. So,
okay. I love it. I love it. If someone who you knew growing up described you, what would they say about you?
Oh, they would for sure say extroverted. I absolutely love meeting people. I honestly attribute my extrovertedness to moving around a lot. Growing up kind of forces you to get outside of yourself.
Yeah. They
would definitely say I'm extroverted. I'm funny. I love making jokes. And I also think that's because I'm the youngest. I like to be a little mischievous sometimes. And they would say that I'm really a good listener. I love chatting with people and conversing with people. So
I love it. What did you go to school for at BYU?
I studied communications with an emphasis in broadcast journalism. Actually, I used to want to be a news anchor one day.
Oh, that seems to fit you so well. I love that.
Then I saw the pay and I said, whew,
you're like, I don't
know if I want to be a reporter anymore and make $30,000 a year working nights. But
that's awesome. That's awesome. Tell me, what kind of woman did you hope to become? What were your aspirations? You were going to be a newscaster, possibly. I want to know go back a little bit. into your early stages of social media? What were the things that you loved?
Well, starting out when it came to content I was consuming when I was young throughout middle school and early high school, I lived for the beauty. I loved the vlogs. I loved my morning routine, my night routine. Come spend the day with me, my beauty routine, my monthly favorites. That was the kind of content I loved to consume. And then when it came to creating, I actually loved creating like funny content. Like I tell people, I love memes. Like you'll never catch me scrolling an account for anything other than memes, honestly. I love the memes of it. I think it's hilarious. So yeah, that's kind of like I started making TikToks when I was 17 and my viral videos were all kind of like funny, humorous content.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. Did you ever think that you would settle into being an influencer?
You know what? I wasn't sure if I would be an influencer per se, but I definitely, I mean, hindsight is 2020. Looking back, you can always connect the dots. It's funny when you go throughout your life, everything, my skills, my interests all kind of perfectly form into this ball that is what you would call an influencer. Like, and even my dad works in marketing, so I got that side from him. My mom worked in editing and publishing, so I got like writing and storytelling from her. And then that's why I pursued communications. I was always so interested in communication, and I found social media so interesting ever since I was 17 and young in middle school. So yeah, it's hard to say if I think I would be an influencer, but I did in high school write a letter when I was 18 to my 5 years later self. And when I was 23, a few years ago, I opened it and it did say, I will be TikTok famous is what I wrote. So I'm like, well, maybe I did know all along. I just knew I loved creating content and making fun videos. So.
I love it. That's so cool. Tell me, you moved a lot, and we were talking a little bit about you moving to the state of Utah, and I grew up outside of Utah. So I get, I never had to live in Utah as a child or as a kid, like in high school, which I think is complicated in its own way. But tell me a little bit about how all the moving kind of helped you become who you are today. Because I think that's a very interesting layer to your story is you were in different places too. Not like, like we moved a ton growing up, but we were in the same state. You were moving all over the country.
New Jersey and Ohio could not be more opposite.
Yeah,
and then Ohio to Utah, very different as well. I definitely think moving around a lot forced me to be more observant of others. As I mentioned, there's different cultures in each state. And it's also our instinct in human nature. We want to adapt and evolve to fit in kind of with the group, with the society, with the crowd. So I kind of learned to be observant of my surroundings and like I'd move to a new school and be like, okay, what's kind of like the pecking order here? Like, where can I fit in? I'm young. I'm going through puberty. I need friends, like no one wants to be made fun of and stand out. So I kind of had to look around and be like, okay, in Utah, people say way. That's way cool. I'm like, all right, I can add that into my lingo. Okay. In Utah, people wear very baggy pants. I'm like, all right, like it kind of led me to be more observant and kind of, I don't know, I'm just very fascinated by people around me and how they act and things. So, and then it also made me, like I said, be very extroverted and get out of my comfort zone. But I like to think I take a few pieces of all the places I've lived and kind of evolve into who I am. So.
Did you ever struggle with confidence?
Yes. So when I was younger, in elementary school, I was bullied. And funny enough, living in New Jersey, me and my brother and my sister all went through some extent of bullying. I don't know if it's that East Coast hardness and coldness at times. But I really struggled with that. My mom had to get involved. I remember with the school, it was pretty bad. I was bullied for my freckles. I was told I looked like I had dirt all over me on the playground constantly. I didn't have cool enough clothes. We lived in a decently wealthy area in Princeton, New Jersey, and it was hard keeping up with the vibe there. All the kids go Ivy League and wear top-notch quality clothes and whatnot. So I definitely struggled with confidence there. And then I settled into Ohio, made my friends, was feeling good. And my confidence was rocked once again once I moved to Utah my junior year. And that was a big culture shock for sure. And I went from having my friend group to having no one and eating lunch alone in my car, crying, really sad. So that forced me to kind of pick myself up on my bootstraps and figure out where to go from there. And
so where did you go from there? What was your first move? Lunch in your car.
From lunch in my car, crying by myself. I remember sitting down and I was like, Lindsay, you can't just expect people to come up to you and be their friend. You have to go out there and put yourself out there and introduce yourself. So I told myself, I said, okay, I'll make a goal in each of my class periods. I will go up to just one person and introduce myself. Hi, my name is Lindsay. I just moved here from Ohio. What's your name? What kind of things do you like to do? And that was my goal. And I, luckily enough, was actually able to meet really kind, amazing, incredible people shortly from there, who kind of had also just moved, and we formed a little group. We call ourselves the New Kids together. I had friends whose dad had just finished serving a mission president in Brazil for 3 years, and another friend who had been in Ohio or Idaho for a few years. We both all kind of felt like we were new and bonded together, which is nice. But
That's kind of cool. Kind of cool that the Lord kind of sent you all to the same spot too, like in similar circumstances, different stories, but all needing someone new. That's kind of fun. If there's anything that you could tell younger Lindsay, the Lindsay sitting in her car crying, eating lunch, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that it'll be okay, and you will find your people if you choose to put yourself in the situations where those opportunities can arise. We can't just expect doors to open if we don't knock on them and seek them out. So it'll be okay, and to just keep pushing. And if no one comes up to you, then you be the friend to someone else, and you keep your eyes open and look for the person that's also sitting in the corner alone. That's kind of the biggest thing it taught me. Like, I feel very strongly about being very inclusive of everyone, because I know how it feels to be left out and be alone.
Be lonely. It's funny, you're raising kids. I'm raising kids, big kids, adult kids are interesting. And, until, you could have sat in your car, you could have kept having lunch and, mustered through it 6 hours a day, 25-minute lunch period. You could have done it, right? But a lot of times I think that we get stuck in the fact that you have to move. You have to move. You cannot sit in your car and pray for friends and then sit in your car. You have to sit in your car, pray for friends, and then go out and say, okay, Lord, what's one thing I can do today that's going to move me in the direction that I want to be going? And I love that that's what you chose to do. You didn't say, Lord, please help someone come up to me and introduce myself or introduce them to me. But you put yourself out there, and that's a hard decision to make.
Yeah. And it was particularly rough because when we were moving out to our home, we were told that we would move in within 3 days and have everything off the moving truck. And that got pushed 2 weeks. So we moved into our house, and all I had was a backpack with 2 pairs of clothes. No, I mean, I'd say backpack. I just had a little bag. I had no backpack. I was starting a brand new school. Didn't know anyone. I had one outfit essentially. So that was extra hard. I was like, dang, I'm showing up to school with not even a backpack. We had to wait until mine showed up off the moving truck. And I remember my sister, funny enough, had prayed every day. She had told me, I prayed for you to find a friend or someone be kind to you. And a girl in our ward, she knows who she is, she's my good friend now, had reached out to me on the very first day of school and invited me to eat lunch with her friends. And I remember being so embarrassed because my sister told her, you were an answer to my prayer. And I'm like, shh, don't tell her that I have no friends and I'm lame. But yeah, looking back, there were a lot of blessings at that time and answered prayers.
That's awesome. I also love the perspective that I've had a couple. It's hard being a girl. It's hard. That's all I know is that it's hard. And I didn't know that until I was a mom raising girls. And, I've had daughters that have been in their cars eating lunch by themselves, or the bathroom. The bathroom is one of my daughter's favorite place to eat lunch, which is so disgusting. But, we talk a lot about sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's about, like what you said, looking out and seeing who might need you. And, we have family prayers, and we're praying that these kids get through these different friend cycles, because it really is kind of a little bit of a cycle. And we pray often around here that we will have the eyes to see who needs us to be a friend today. And I think it's just important. And a lot of times you don't realize that unless you're the friend list.
100%. I remember looking back, I'm like, wow, that Lindsay needed a knock up the side of the head. I remember being probably freshman in high school, sitting in church with my mom in sacrament meeting. And I turned to her and I said, Mom, everyone gets up and all they talk about is trials. I said, my only trial is like homework and school. How do people have all these trials all the time? And she turned to me and she said, yes, you ain't, Lindsay. I'm like, dang, some people just have trials all the time. How do you just life? Like, just, And then I got plucked and picked up from my whole world in Ohio and dropped into Utah. And I had a seminary teacher and he was like telling me that I had a purpose of being here. And I was like, what's my purpose? I don't get it. And he's like, you'll see, like, there's a purpose of everything and why you moved here. And I do think I needed that to learn that lesson of humility and turning and looking to those around me and becoming more inclusive in that way and looking for the lost and other lonely girls like that. So.
I love it. I love it. Who knew? Who knew? All right. So layer 2, this is something I feel like you talk a lot about, just becoming, right? Like becoming the person you want to be, whether it's through healthy lifestyle, whether it's through fashion, whether it's through writing, all the things that you kind of are inclusive, especially in the world of influencing. Who knew it would take on so many skill sets, right? But when did you realize that that's what you wanted your life to be? Was talking about becoming the best version of yourself?
So it started when I started my For the Girls series, which I started this past November, but I have been thinking about it for months leading up to it. I'm like, I've had a few videos here and there where I opened up and shared pieces of my story when it came to my jaw surgery or wanting to look better and fix my makeup and things like that. And it really resonated with women. And I'm like, dang, I kept telling my husband, I'm like, and my page from the start, from day one, my handle has always been Lynn's for the Girls, which people think that's kind of cheesy. You know, why don't you just make it your name? But I always told people, I kind of joked and said, no boys allowed. This page is for girls only. I want to be able to talk about periods, which I've talked about. I want to be able to talk about getting my IUD out and which bras fit the best for me and which underwear is good for you and all things like that. Hormonal acne. No boys allowed. This page is for girls who, like me when I was younger growing up, I turned to social media and YouTubers and sought out advice from other girls my age because my older sister, she's 4 years older than me, but we're very different in our interests. She's less of a girly girl. And I'm like, dang, I just want tips of like what mascara works best for someone with dead straight eyelashes, like the dumb things like that. But it's those little things that help build up your confidence and make you feel better. And so, yeah, it really, from day one, I've wanted a space for the girls, but I really locked it in with my For the Girls series this past November, which has been cool to see it connect with so many people.
I love it. What has been your very favorite part about For the Girls? Like, what's your favorite topic you've talked about or, anything like that?
My favorite topic I've talked about. I really do. This was one of the first ones I shared in the series. I'm very passionate about getting to the root cause of health issues. So many women deal with chronic illness. It's only on the rise. And I've dealt with chronic bloating and stomach issues. And not a lot of people have the resources to go out and solve that issue and meet with a holistic doctor and what even is fixing your hormones. And I feel like that really resonated with a lot of women. So that was really cool to talk about. I'm very passionate about figuring out your own health for yourself because it's so individual. And then something that's really cool for me is the DMs and messages I get. It just like warms my heart. I'm like, dang, like I'll be feeling down and not motivated with my content. I'm like, who is this even reaching? Like, who cares about my videos? And then I'll wake up to a DM from a girl saying, I've been getting bullied at school and your videos have helped me take steps to become more confident and feel better about myself. I'm like, dang, because I see myself in those messages when I get them. So if I can only help one girl feel better about herself in any way, then I feel like my mission has been accomplished.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
And it's not only just worth it every single day, because I think a lot of times people don't understand the amount of time and effort and energy and knee work, really. Because a lot of people that we've had, a lot of women we've had on, talk a lot about how what they choose to post, they take it very spiritually, right? They really do go to God and say, what do you want me to post today? And it's through those efforts that it's a lot of work, but it's also through the efforts of your experiences throughout your life that you bring. You're not just some random pretty girl talking on the internet, right? You bring a very specific set of experiences and things that you have done throughout your life that you are proof, right? We all need like living testimonies of girls that have gone before. And we talk about this all the time, but Satan wants us to live on this little isolated island. Like we're the only one, like Linz is the only girl out there that ever, had freckles or that ever sat in her car alone and all of a sudden we start having these very real conversations. And instead of it being like, well, she doesn't get it, is all of a sudden it's like, oh, she struggled with that too. And look what she's doing. And it gives us like a living testimony that I can do it too. And I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And even if we just have one person on that little struggle bus island, it's better than just ourselves, you know? And then all of a sudden the DMs start coming in and people start commenting and you're starting to be like, oh my gosh, so many girls have the exact same issues and I'm not alone. And together we can do this together.
No, 100%. Like, I've always felt so inspired by women sharing their stories. Like, it's funny because I got a question too of like, oh, when did you start your For the Girls series? Like, what prompted it? And I was looking back and I'm like, I don't know. I've just always, I really do think it stems from growing up, like feeling left out. I'm like, dang, I want to be that girl that someone can turn to. And I don't gatekeep. I'm not going to not tell you where my outfit's from. I'm like, I will tell you where my outfit's from. I'll send you the link to it. I'll tell you exactly how to curl your hair. Like, I always tell people there's not like a manual on like how to be a girl. You just have to figure it out on your own. I don't know how to do hair. I don't know how to do makeup. It was hard moving here, especially to Utah. You know, people talk about the beauty standard being so high. I don't know how to dress. I don't even know how to match my clothes. And it just takes like time. And I always wish when I was younger, I wish there was just someone that can help me. I'm like, I want to help other girls. Like, I want to help you find what colors work best on you. And again, these all like sound silly at times maybe, but if you can streamline things that make you feel your best, that's what I want to accomplish. So inside and out. But yeah, it's been really cool. It's cool to see.
Wow. That's incredible. Tell me this, because I think this is so important too. And mostly because we get so much heat at half tea, like from work, as we talk about modesty. We talk about things that girls are sitting around at their table having conversations with each other, right? Like, I hate my arm, or I have this mole on my arm that I absolutely hate. So I just need something to cover it, or their boobs are hanging out. You know, there's all these different levels. Their back fat, whatever you want to call it. Side boob. Side boob's a big thing. I had a little cutest model, 48-year-old. She's lost a ton of weight. And so she has like this little pocket of like, whatever it is. She doesn't even know. She calls it what does she call it? Her friend or her bestie? Or what did Callie call it? She has like a name for it. It's actually hilarious. But the tank hefty covers it. And it makes her feel so much better about it, right? So we get all this heat about, you know, which is funny because it's coming from women that are supposed to be pro body, pro whatever, but then they just start slamming you if you actually voice an insecurity or you voice a concern. But my point is that when we as women feel beautiful, we don't have to feel like we're going to a glamour party every day. But when we have cute clothes on and our hair is done and a little makeup, I tell my girls this all the time, a little makeup goes a long way. And they're like, Mom, you just don't even think I'm beautiful without it. I said, I think you are beautiful without it. But a little bit of makeup goes a long way. And it's not even about me. It's about how you feel about yourself when you have a little makeup on.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you've elevated yourself to show up a little differently.
100%.
Have you seen that with the work that you do with women?
100%. I've had a few comments saying a critique is, oh, this is superficial. Why do I have to be the hottest version of myself? Why can't I just love myself the way I am?
Yeah.
And it's funny because to me, confidence, I think confidence isn't changing who you are. It's living who you are to the fullest version. It's reaching our fullest potential. Of course, you should love yourself how you are. But if you love someone, then you want what's best for them and you want them to do better and elevate their experience. And again, I also am very into like the science of it. It's funny. You see videos and people joke like, dang, I didn't need therapy. I just needed a spray tan. I'm so much more productive and I feel good. And I'm like, yes, because you feel great. And even if no one even saw you that day, I always liken it to an example. If I'm out and about and I'm in my grungies, I'm in my grout fit, no makeup, I haven't washed my hair in 4 days, and I'm living on dry shampoo, and I run in, I see my neighbor from afar, my first instinct is to hide. I don't want to go up to them and be their friend or serve someone when I'm not feeling good. But if again, I don't have to be dolled up, but if I'm in a little matching set, at least my hair's done, I am presentable, I'm way more likely to be open and go up to someone and befriend them and serve them. And I think we actually we're more productive, but we also serve others more and like, have more opportunities to serve the Lord more when we show up and present and put our best foot forward. We're more likely to be open to those experiences rather than hiding from them and shying away from them. For
Oh
sure.
my gosh, I love that. I've never really thought about how we're more willing to interact with others when we feel confident with ourselves and how we've presented ourselves. And that's incredible. And you know, it's kind of putting the cart before the horse a little bit because I get a little bit, I step off just a little shy of, you know, you got to pour so much into yourself before you can really be your best version, which I don't agree with. I think that we find our best self in serving others, right? But there is a level of self-care, which is like a trigger word for me, but there is a level of self-care, right? That really does go a long ways. And if it'd be fascinating to me, because you told me before you love like statistics and like the geeky stuff, and I totally love all that kind of stuff too. But it'd be fascinating to me, to ask and to kind of study that as women, how much more willing would we be to go down the street and say hi to a neighbor when we feel, and especially when we feel those impressions and those like little nudges to go do something. And how many of those nudges are stopped by one, we're just freaking so exhausted because we overfill our days, right? But two, we're taking a big step back from presenting, like getting ready in the morning and presenting the best foot forward, like you said. I wonder how often we shy away from the nudges because we don't feel confident with
Yeah.
how we're showing up for the day.
I
That's
even
interesting.
think about it with my house. Like, it's funny when you get older. Like, I understand my mom now with, I have to have the house clean before guests come in, but I get it too. It's like, if I had the opportunity to have someone over to my house is messy. I'm like, no, maybe next week. Then I can have them over. But if we just stay ready and stay presentable with our home, our surroundings, our bodies, and how we look on the outside, then we are more likely to say yes to things, in my opinion and experience. So
That's so cool too, because I also think that there's a level of, and I know you talk a lot about health. I know that I mean, the first thing I offered was like a beverage, and Lynn said I don't drink pop, which is totally fine. Like, it's totally great.
but the bloom pop,
But the bloom,
delicious.
like, she does have her standards. And you know, we fought for these bodies. Like, we have a body because we fought for him up in heaven and we chose Jesus Christ, right? And the way we protect these bodies and treat our bodies is so important. It's the only one we have. It's the only one we have. And how our bodies function and the health of them is a direct correlation to how much service we're actually capable of giving, right? Because if our bodies are not healthy and strong, we are far less likely to be able to go out and serve and do those things that the Heavenly Father needs us to be. So I love that this is not the direction I thought the conversation would go at all, but I do think it's so important to remind, especially as women, because as women, we are creators. God made us innately to be creators. And part of that is why we have pillows on our couches and why we have 75 pillows on our beds and our blankets match. And we want things to look presentable because I believe at the very core of who we are is we want to beautify things and create beautiful spaces.
100%.
But that's a good reminder, I think, for each of us to just remember that putting a little bit of effort into how we are showing up for the day goes a long ways. And it's not just about you, right? It's not just about me. It's about the people that we are going to be way more willing to want to go and be with and serve and be around when we're feeling good about ourselves.
100%.
That is such a cool, I
totally
love
think
that.
so. I tell people, I'm like, your glow up, no one will notice your glow up in the beginning. Like, your glow up doesn't start when people start noticing your glow up. It starts when you realize that you are worth taking care of and you take the steps to take care of yourself. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What's something that you once believed about yourself that you don't believe anymore?
Oh, I'm always fighting my self-beliefs, you guys. I'm like, words are power. I'm always trying affirmation. I used to believe that I guess didn't have much to say on my videos. I was afraid to talk in my videos for a long time. I did no talking, short form content, text on screen videos for probably months when I first started posting. Like, who wants to hear from me? I'm just another girl. We have millions of people in the US, millions of people on these apps. But yeah, I used to think, I guess my perspective didn't offer anything, but now when I put myself out there and see what connects with people, I learned we all have unique perspectives and opinions to offer and share and bring to the table, and everyone can take what they like and leave what they don't. But yeah, I used to believe I guess didn't have much to offer, but
That's so
now
interesting.
now I know I do.
So I'm glad that you figured that out because it's very, very true. We've been here for 25 minutes and I love the depth of who you are as a human. You have a very deep depth of who you are and where you're coming from is very fascinating. I love it. But God doesn't ask us to become someone else. He helps us become who he created us to be. And I think that that's probably been a big path of you figuring out that you have a purpose and God has a purpose for Lindsay Harper to become and not you're not supposed to be somebody else or live your life vicariously through other people. And I love that that's true.
100%. I see it go hand in hand. Like a lot of people, when it comes to the gospel, they can have a little bit of a hard time with it. Again, they're like, well, why do I need to show up for my callings? Why do I need to follow the commandments? Why do I need to follow the word of wisdom? Doesn't God love me the way I am?
Hmm.
That's a very common question. And yes, he does. He loves all of us, but he loves us so much that he gave us commandments that require sacrifice. And he knew that that would forge us to be even better. And I think it goes hand in hand. And I love it. I think the gospel has so many parallels to living your best life. And I love it. I think it's so interesting.
That's cool. How would you define confidence?
Ooh, this is funny because I used to think growing up, confidence means you have to be the prettiest girl in the room. You have to be the smartest person in the room. But now confidence to me is having self-trust in yourself. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you can fall back on yourself and feel good about what you've done. And self-trust and confidence is built through keeping promises to yourself. So it's repeatedly keeping promises to yourself and showing up for yourself. And that's what confidence comes to be. And you no longer have to be the best, prettiest, or smartest person in the room. It's when you stop comparing yourself to others. That's when I feel like you are truly confident.
I love what you just said with it's keeping promises to yourself. That's a very fascinating perspective because confidence really is when we're confident in people, we know they're going to do what they say they're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And taking it back to like a confidence in God or having faith in God or Jesus Christ or in your husband or in your kids or in any of it, right? It's you, the more confidence you have is in the people that do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it. And yet we have that high expectation for others, but then we have a very low expectation for ourselves.
Yep.
And so I can see why that would very quickly chip away your own personal confidence because you're like, I don't even show up for myself, right?
I'll do it tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
How many times have we said,
Yeah.
I'll start my diet tomorrow. I'll start dressing cute next week. Once I go to the store, I'll start. But confidence comes from starting now. It comes from making the decision now.
And
it builds over time.
I love it. What do you think is the biggest myth women believe about confidence?
I think we liken it onto beauty for sure. There's a lot just growing up. You see it in media and the pretty girl gets the guy. We have movies like The Duff, The Dumb, Ugly, Fat Friend, right? And it's just reading books and seeing things growing up. You're like, dang, okay, in order to be confident, I have to be the prettiest person. And that's just not true. So I would say that's the biggest myth. And there's beauty in everyone too. Like I see beauty in every person I see. And there's more to us than just our outward appearance. And it takes a confident person to just know themselves. I think it comes more from knowing yourself as well.
I love it. I love it. What do you think is like if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I want to gain more confidence." What would be the first thing you would tell them to do this week? Like week 1, this is what you're going to do.
If you wanted to gain more confidence, you have to take action. So I like to think I heard this quote one time and it said, a lot of people think it takes courage to have confidence. Confidence is the byproduct almost. Like you need to act first and then the confidence comes regardless of how you feel. So wear the outfit, apply for that job you don't think you have enough qualifications for, ask for the raise and you don't have any confidence. People say fake it till you make it. It really is true. You have to start taking the steps and actions that a confident person does on the daily basis. And then you will build that confidence, but do the scary things and take action. Even if it's just one thing, like I took entrepreneurship class at BYU and our professor told us he had a challenge this was our homework assignment. He said, 30 seconds of insane courage. I want you to go do something scary, whether it's ask a girl for her number or go raise your hand in class. For me, that was raising my hand. I didn't love raising my hand in class, funny enough. And he would have us challenge just to do that. And over time, you get more confident in your abilities. You follow through with it. You build that self-trust and you get out on the other side and you're like, man, I can do that. I can do hard things. Maybe I could do it again.
Yeah.
So,
well, and what I realized, I had a really good friend of mine that is a sports psychologist, and she came in and she did some training with my team, and she made us go out and do the craziest things. Like I had to go, we all went out. She had a list of challenges that we could choose from. And like one was we had to go into a random store and start singing to people.
oh, wow.
And one was we had to go and sit down and ask to eat together, or ask somebody if they would share their food with you. Like crazy hard things. Or we had to go through the drive-through like a McDonald's and ask for a taco. Like,
oh my gosh,
funny things like that. So we had like 90 minutes and we went out and we got points for all the hard things that we did. And what ended up happening was, one, that the common denominator was it wasn't actually as hard as I thought it was going to be. And people were not nearly as mean as what I thought they were going to be, right? Because I think that people,
they don't care as much as you think.
Yeah.
care.
We think they care. We think that they're back there thinking about what's going to happen. Nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are, right? And so that was the like common denominator of the experience, was that, one, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And two, people actually loved it. They got into it with us, right? And so I just remember singing I think I went into a salon and they were just sitting there waiting for clients to come in. I was like, can I sing a song to you? And they're like, sure. Anyway, so we sing. And what was hilarious is that they're like, are you Cash's mom? And so like,
no way.
One of my kids even. And we just laughed. And anyways, I agree. I think you got to take the step and you got to do the hard. And I think that the more you do that, the more you realize it's not going to be nearly as hard as you thought it was going to be. And the byproduct is more confidence to do the next thing. So I love it. All right. What's something people don't see about your life?
Oh, I think something they don't see is how much I truly struggle with confidence. Like here I am touting off being confident, but the reason I'm so passionate about it is because I lack it. So I'm also trying to work towards things to become more confident and feel better about myself. So that's one thing they probably don't see as much. Like I really struggle. I've had struggled with self-esteem issues for a long time. I think my double jaw surgery definitely messed with me. Getting a, facial reconstruction surgery at 17 will mess with your head.
I don't know anything about this. I want you to go back and tell me a little bit about that, because I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that don't know about this either.
Yeah. So growing up, funny enough, starts with my brother. When I was younger, around 4 or 5 years old, living in New Jersey, my brother hit me in the nose with a baseball bat, which led to a slew of breathing problems, deviated septum, and I have been a mouth breather my whole life, and mouth breathing can lead to an underdeveloped jaw. So I knew since I was around 12, my orthodontist always told me, you're going to need jaw surgery, your bone structure, you have an underdeveloped jaw, we will need to correct this. Like there's only so much braces can do. So I underwent surgery when I was 17. My senior year, September 2018, at the beginning of my senior year of high school. And it's also called facial reconstruction surgery. I've talked about this briefly in some videos, but they essentially remove your teeth from your skull and reattach them to your face. Pretty gnarly. They also cut my chin bone off and moved it forward and secured it with a metal plate. And you can't, it's liquids for 8 days only. Your mouth is shut tightly with rubber bands. I couldn't speak. You're swollen for months. I lost 15 pounds. You can't chew for 2 months. I remember looking back at an old seminary journal, all I would doodle was food. All I wanted to do was eat. I was so sad. Food is very social too. That was hard. Like going to school dances, I couldn't eat or anything. And then just 5 months after that, I had my deviated septum corrected as well as a rhinoplasty. I got my nose job. And so those were 2 major facial surgeries at the ripe age of 17.
Holy cow.
In the thick of settling into being a young woman. And that was really hard for me because I looked in the mirror and saw someone else. I didn't recognize my face. And at the same time, I'm hearing, well, now you look better. Now you look prettier. I'm like, I got more attention from boys after was like, this is really strange. I never really got attention from boys before this. And that was really hard to juggle. I remember attended a football game a couple weeks later, and ran into one of my teachers, and she didn't recognize me. That was really hard. It was hard to have a new face than the one you've had for 17 years of your life. But it's supposedly more conventionally attractive now, so you should be grateful for it. That was very strange. It's hard to really put that into words. But I think that definitely where a lot of that combined with bullying when I was younger is where a lot of my self-esteem issues, I think, stem from. And it's taken me a lot of work to overcome them. But I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I went through those hard things when I was younger. So
very fascinating. Yeah, I didn't know that. Do you still find yourself comparing yourself? Like what does that sound like in your head?
100%. I think that's something, comparison is really hard. We all know every girl, every young woman deals with it. I mean, no matter your age, older women, I'm sure it's just, there's so many ways, especially with social media, and I do social media. But I for sure, like, I will compare with my career. Sometimes other creators with similar followings are getting other opportunities that I'm not necessarily getting, or I'll look at other girls, dang, I work out every day and eat healthy and I still don't look like that. What's going on? I'll compare my body. I'll compare my hair, my makeup. And I just, at the end of the day, have to look at myself, and it doesn't matter what other people are doing. I have to just focus on me and the steps I'm doing, because nothing that anyone else does really matters. It matters what I do at the end of the day for my own self and my own family and moving forward. So I kind of just try to remind myself that it's the only person I'm competing against is myself. So
I love it. We talk about that all the time on here, is the comparison and the competitiveness that we have as women. Two of our, those are probably our biggest weaknesses. So we talk so much about comparison and competition, right? And with women, those are our two biggest weaknesses, I think, as women. But our greatest strength is creating. And when we stop comparing, and when we stop competing with each other, and we start creating based off of that. In fact, Mel Robbins' book, what's it called?
Robbins, The Let Them Theory.
That's it. Sorry. Thank you. The Let Them Theory. But she talks about how instead of comparing to other women, how important it is to look at other women's achievements and recognize if they've done it, I can do it too.
Exactly.
Right?
100%.
And taking that and saying, okay, what can I learn for this? And now what can I create? And it's not going to look the same because we all do things so differently, right? But I love, love, love. The more we can talk about recognizing that is our natural instinct to compare and to compete with one another, the more we can talk about that and recognize how it's all in us as women. Men can do it in their sleep and they don't even care. It's like how young boys can get into a fist fight and then the next day they're besties again, right? As girls, we'd be like, heck nah, I will hate her till the day I die, right? But men do it so much better, that aspect of their lives. But I do think it's one of Satan's tools, because he knows, and this is a huge, huge, huge message today, is he knows that when we as women are comparing and competing, there's no way to create. It takes the creativity, it takes our ability to create, just completely squashes it. And he knows that when we work together, that we truly do rise together. And so all the things he can do to get us comparing and competing with one another, it stops us in our tracks of our ability to create as women. And that is something that is divinely given to each single one of us. And it is, when we are creating, we are in our finest. We are being the very finest, parts of who we are as women. So that's so awesome. What do you feel like, how do your closest friends experience Lindsay differently than like the social media Lindsay? Is there a difference, or is there not? Or do you feel like, be super open with this, because I think it's fascinating. I think it's important for our listeners to understand that some of the people that we're following aren't the same people that we think they are,
Sadly.
It is so sad, and I think it's becoming even more and more prevalent. But I think it's really important to be discernful, and it's okay and that's the other thing, listeners. It's okay that influencers don't have everything on their page. That is not their job to share every single little corner detail of their lives. And we have to give them permission to share what they want to share, right? But I do think that as influencers, we need to hold each other a little bit more accountable to be the people that we say we're going to be, and to be doing the things that we're preaching or talking about in social media and then between, behind closed doors is something totally different.
I've never been too entrenched with other creators. It actually was funny when I started creating. I would go to events and people like, oh, that's like so and so. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I've seen her around. And they're like, but you don't follow her. I'm like, well, I don't know her. And then I'm like, well, now I will, because now I met with her at an event and we've connected and met face to face. So now I'll follow her. But they're like, why didn't you follow her before? I'm like, well, because I didn't know her. Like, it's kind of funny that like I'm a creator because, I don't know. But when it comes to if people, my friends think influencer Lindsay is different, I had a girl at an event come up to me a couple months ago and she said, your voice is different on your videos.
Oh,
and I said, really? But I think of it almost like giving a talk in church, or my page is my business. So I'm going to show up for my business in a way that, I try to be strategic. I do rehearse my videos. I script every voiceover. Like I want to be good at my business. So I will be very, like it's like when you are public speaking, you're probably going to sound a little bit different than joking with your friends.
Yeah.
But I thought that was funny. She said that to me. But I try to just be myself. I always tell people I really struggle with Instagram. Instagram is my least favorite platform. It causes me the most anxiety in comparison. You will never catch me scrolling on Instagram. I do not enjoy scrolling. TikTok is my jam. TikTok, I feel free. I can have no makeup. I can spam 5 videos in a row and not really care as much. So I always tell people, I'm like, if you only follow me on Instagram, maybe follow me on TikTok too to see more of like fun, random videos. But Instagram, I feel like it's higher stakes for some reason. But
that's so interesting. And I think that that's important. I mean, I think you just answered that question perfectly. And that's an invitation for anybody that does follow Lens on socials, is to follow you in both places, because there really is a different definition of what content looks like on different platforms. And you got to be very careful with, because Instagram is more curated. It's a leveled up form of content, and TikTok, you're going to get a little
more raw. I feel like it's more raw. Like,
and that's what it wants to be. Yep. Like TikTok wants you to be more raw. It wants you to be showing up in your, your messy bun and waking up in the morning and say, hey, this is me today. Yeah.
I really dragged my feet to start Instagram because I started posting consistently TikTok April 2023, and I didn't start my Instagram until a year and a half after that, October 2024. And people would be like, why are you not on Instagram? Why are you not on Instagram? And I'm like, oh, it's more aesthetic, and I'm not aesthetic. Like, I'm not that girl that has the perfect slick back. I don't even know how to do a slick back. Like, but I'm trying to be real. I'm like, I tried to show you, like, I'm a normal person. Sometimes I even struggle sharing health and wellness content that I'm so passionate about because I don't have visible abs. And I'm like, well, dang, who's going to follow me and listen to me when I'm not ripped and have 5% body fat?
Right.
But then I had someone say, well, that shows that like you're a normal person and you are still trying and working towards. And that's what I try to show. I'm like, I love these things and passionate about these things, but I'm still not there yet. Like, I don't have abs, but I do have things that I've implemented into my life that make me feel better inside and out. And I want to share those things in a realistic way. So
I think that's super important. And we're going to cite, this is very, very another important message that this just came from. We think we set up these standards for ourselves, right? Like, I'm going to be healthy. And the only reason I'm going to be healthy is because I want abs. I want to, I want calf muscles, and I want my biceps to pop when I flex. But that's not the point. The point is living a healthy lifestyle. The point is taking care of your body, and you do those things regardless if you have a six pack. And, I see this so often with athletes. I coach high school athletes, and their goal, obviously the goal is to play as many minutes as possible, right? To be a starter, to score 12 points a game, to go on and play collegiate. That's what they think the point is. But if that's all we think about is final expectation, and we miss the entire process of what we learned and what we gained and who we became in the process, the six pack's not worth it, right? Like, who the heck cares if you have a six pack if you don't recognize how incredible it is to take care of your body? Or if you don't, who cares if you go D1? If the process of becoming a D1 athlete was, you didn't even recognize what the kind of experiences, the teammates you had, the games, the game winners. If you don't love all of that, the Division 1 isn't worth it. The six pack's not worth it, because it just becomes like a womp womp. Like, well, now I've got a six pack. What's the point? Right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, you don't have a six pack. That's not why you do it. It'd be nice.
It would be nice. Hey,
it would be nice.
Not against it.
Right? I mean, you're not going to try for a six pack, but you're not going to do what you need to do to take care of your body because you don't have a six pack. So
100%.
5 years from now, Linz, who do you hope you like? What do you want to be? Where do you hope you are in 5 years?
I hope that I have kids in 5 years. If it were up to my husband, he would have kids right now. But hopefully I'm a mom in 5 years. And hopefully I'm still showing up every day on my platform and growing it. And I want to transition this when I become a mom to still keep yourself and your spark throughout motherhood and postpartum, because that's a whole other journey. And I think that's a journey that a lot of women bond over. So while I am terrified of it, I'm also somewhat excited because I feel like it just unlocks a new level and you become more empathetic and learn more patience and learn better time management. So I hope in 5 years, I am even closer to reaching my higher self, and I've learned new things about myself and connected with more women through those experiences. So.
I love it. Do you feel like success has changed your priorities?
Do I think success has changed my priorities? I think like the success I've experienced, like the somewhat success, I'm like still grinding. I think I've always prioritized like wanting to reach big goals. Not gonna lie. I think having success makes me more excited and shows me that I can actually dream even bigger. So I think it actually makes me prioritize my bigger kind of lofty goals more than before. So I don't know how well that answered that question.
I love it. But so your success is actually proof to you that you can even dream bigger. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah. It makes me like excited for the future. I'm like, oh, me and my husband are like, oh, if this happened this year, maybe next year something bigger will happen.
Yeah,
that's the cool thing about social media is it's very exponential growth, which is exciting to see.
That's cool. That's cool. So what layer of your life requires the most intentionality? Like, what do you have to be the most intentional about? And I feel like you've already talked about this a little bit, but I just want to kind of hone in on it a little bit more.
For sure, my social media. I try to be, it is a hard balance of being real and authentic while also being strategic, again, for the business side of things. So especially since I signed to management for the first time last October, I have to be very intentional about the posts I'm doing. I report to my managers now. They're expecting analytics. So I am the most intentional about my social media and having both sides of that line of being authentic and then also strategic and calculated when it comes to like my business decisions and intentional in the things I share. I feel like in the beginning, when you're a smaller creator, you get excited about things and you're like, I kind of just share whatever. And now I choose to be really intentional with companies I work with, brands I share, and I want to stand fully behind the things and the products I share for sure.
I love that. I love that. Which I think that is important as a social media personality, right? Is that, again, you want to be following women that are intentional about the things that they want to talk about and the brands that they're sharing about and the products they're using. Because you get a lot of opportunities to collab with a lot of different companies, and it'd be easy to say yes to all of them. It really would be. But when you say yes to all of them, it waters down what you truly like about certain aspects of brands or products and things like that.
And let me tell you, alcohol brands have high budget. I said, and coffee. I said, I'm not your girl for the alcohol and coffee campaigns, but hopefully you
I wish I was. That was some of the first brands that reached out to me, was coffee brands. Yeah, that's so funny. I was like, no, I can't. I'm sorry. I do not drink coffee. That's awesome. That's awesome. What do you hope women feel after spending time with you?
Oh, I love that question. I hope they feel heard and listened to and uplifted. And a lot of times my friends will say to me that after conversations, they're like, you just like jazz me up and like get me hyped and like make me feel like I can achieve these things that I've talked to you about. So that's what I want people to feel like after they talk to me. And looking back again, when you get older, you look back at things. In my patriarchal blessing, actually, very short. I was very sad when I got it. It's very short, but it does say that I will give advice to a lot of people.
Oh, interesting.
Funny enough, and help people. And it basically says I will know what to do with my life and I will give advice to others. And I feel like I'm able to do that through my videos and also just talking to girls. So yeah.
That's so cool. That's very, very cool. Imagine your granddaughter, this is my final question. Imagine your granddaughter watches this episode one day. What do you hope she learns from your story?
I hope she learns that her grandma did not have it all figured out at 25, and she's still learning. But I hope she learns that the first step towards confidence is taking action and doing the things that scare you. And you might think to yourself, oh, I'll figure that out when I become an adult. But you realize as you get older, everyone's still figuring things out. So I wish I knew that when I was younger, and to just try things and do things that make you feel good inside out, and hopefully also uplift others around you when you're around them, and make it like a goal for both of you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. What an awesome podcast episode today. Before we close, is there anything else that you want to share, or any other question you wish I would have asked?
I guess I just want to share, you touched on it a little bit earlier about the competitiveness and comparison within women. And I guess I really want people to know, and I've had to come to learn this myself. You think that empowered women getting a lot of opportunities means there's less for you. But when we have empowered women, it creates more opportunities for all of us.
Yes.
So that's what I want.
I love that.
I always say the rising tide lifts all ships. So
Yep. That is so true. That is, and I think about this often. We think that Heavenly Father's up there with this plate of blessings, right? And because he gives Lindsay Harper 2 blessings, that must mean there's only half of a blessing left for me. But that's not true. God is an infinite God of blessings. And just because you're receiving what we think, right? In our minds, we're like, she's getting all the blessings. So there's not, but as we let go of all of that and the comparison, the competition part of it, we start to recognize that God is a God of infinite blessing. And if we do the hard stuff and we move forward and choose to move forward and do those things that we are hard or crazy or scary or whatever, the blessings, the opportunities are infinite. 100%. And I love that when we work together and we create together, we rise together, and it actually provides us even more opportunities.
Yes.
Than what we get all on our own.
There's enough for all of us, and more.
And more.
Yeah.
And more. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Her Layered Life. If today's episode or conversation encouraged you, we'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another woman who could use the reminder. I truly believe that when women stop comparing and competing and start supporting and creating with each other, we rise together. Today's conversation reminded me that becoming isn't about chasing perfection. It's about intentionally choosing who we're becoming, one decision at a time. We are at our very best when we are creating beauty, creating opportunities, creating relationships, creating hope, and especially when we're creating with God. Hope this week is that you'll create something that blesses someone else, and in the process, discover that God is creating something beautiful in you. And we'll see you next time on Her Layered Life.